Alright. Hey guys, this was that one story I tried to read a minute ago and I got all flustered and said, I ain't gonna do it. Well, guess what? You guys is lucky because, you know what, since I like you, I'm going to do it. Alright, I'm assuming that's pointing at the rock or my boot. Let's move the boots. There we go. Now, if the kitty cat gets in frame, sorry about your luck. It's my kitty cat. You'll be lucky if he don't flash you. Alright, here we go. I think I'm going to change the title. I was going to call it, but now this is just a rough draft. Never mind any of that. If it's a shit story, it's a shit story in the rough draft, and there's no point in the revision. But anywho, let's see. If we had $5, we'd have probably bought a joint. That's the name of the story. Yeah. All right. Well, I like the other name better, but it's all about how you read it, not when it's read to you. But we working on that, ain't we? Okay. It was almost 30 years ago that I formed an arcing appreciation for the Kentucky mud. Like a lot of young fools before and after me, I gradually learned many varying appreciations for a great number of things. For now, for this story, for reader and writer alike, I'll simply focus on the mud. It was an excruciating boredom that only youth can conspire against you. And in this particular day of my adolescence, the nothing to do's had struck, and they had struck hard. So profound this particular morning, it was as if every moment had been drained of any substantive meaning of anything. Basically, I was like 12 or 13 or something, and I was bored. Bored as all hell. It was a Saturday. I had spent the night at my grandparents' house, tried to watch TV. I piddled with my old bicycle, which had a dry rotted tire on it, at my grandpa's garage for a little bit. The humid summer day made time feel as hot and sticky and uncomfortable as the air. I had some friends at a trailer court a pebble's toss away from my grandparents' house, one of whom had a PlayStation 1. I wasn't too happy to walk, stupid dry rotted bike tire. The friend who had the PlayStation wasn't home. So much for air conditioning and fun, I thought. The only other person around my age that was home in the trailer park was Jack Daniels. No, not to drink. Some people have interesting names, is all, I guess. I didn't get an interesting name, yet I made it that way anyhow, though. That's neither here nor there. Turn the page, Daniel. You know how paper works? Yeah, I do. Just my hands are stupid. Alright, there we go. My buddy was just as bored and dull as me. Two boys in the trailer park with not even $5, or we would have got a joint and watched TV. Sometimes one needs something to do. No bait, no hooks, no fishing. We had quickly ruled out two hobbies. Fishing and weed, booze when we could steal it, took up a lot of our free time. One of those rare days of aimless sobriety. This was one of those rare days of aimless sobriety. Jack's family hadn't been in Breathitt nor Kentucky long. I forget what state they moved from. Let's say Illinois for the heck of it. He had finally heard the local legend of Dumont Tunnel. I've heard of it a bajillion times at this point. However, we recounted the story. Then we hamstrung an impromptu plan. We would swim across the river, walk the tracks, check out the big scary tunnel, and walk back. So simple, two teenage ne'er-do-wells could do it. The story, for those of you not swimming in a nice small pond, is an old train tunnel not far from my grandparents or the trailer park, 4 or 5 miles away as the crow flies. Dumont Tunnel, not the largest train tunnel in Breathitt, and not the only train tunnel in Breathitt, nor the largest. Folks rarely comment on a trestle around here, yet this one stands out. Dumont. It's haunted, they say. It had been cut through the mountain during the old slave times. The way I heard it. The way I heard it, where slaves were finishing the back half when an unscheduled train scheduled their demise. 10 or 15 dead. Maybe it was one small accident that got blew out of proportion and no one died. Maybe someone committed suicide at the entrance. In one version of it, some of the slaves had been cemented in the walls. I'm not sure if they meant black slaves or the Chinese ones. Arms outstretched, hands frozen in the grasp of frozen in the grasp of the concrete. Uh, as yeah, as the train throwing them against the wall, splashing them with quick mix. I don't even see how that's plausible. It doesn't dry that fast. I love it, causing it all to ring a tad unbelievable to me. Hard to say about the truth of any of it. Jack had heard 5 or 7 different versions of the same story, plus his curiosity was new. I didn't really blame him for being anxious to check it out. I could have cared less. Big whoop-de-frickin' do, I thought. Then again, I've already heard every version of this ghost story. I begrudgingly What? Oh, yeah. I begrudgingly noted the exercise and fresh air. It'll be good for you, he said. We'll put our shoes and socks in a grocery bag, he said. Our stuff will stay dry, he said. Us 90s kids. It didn't matter if our stuff got wet. It's not like we had a smart device glued to our hands like nowadays. It was yeah. It was a 1 minute hike to the riverbank and a shorter swim across to the tracks, making the largest leg of the journey simple. Just walk to the tunnel. Probably would have not have been too bad if not for the stinging nettle on the riverbank. And while we swam across the river, Jack submerged a plastic bag underwater. The itchy irritation of the nettle wore off after a few moments. However, our shoes and socks were a different story, soaked and dripping. What does this say? We rang out what we could and set a brisk barefoot pace. Honestly, I was happy the stinging nettle didn't grow near the tracks. Evil little plant. About as tall as mid-shin, kind of fuzzy and prickly. It usually makes one regret shorts. We were almost a mile down the track when the nettled irritation proved too much for me. River mud, I thought, would make a great impromptu balm for my inflamed shins. For what small time we paused our journey, it soothed my itching calf muscles in equity. We paced onward, joking, cussing, bitching about this or that. Mostly I made issue of my opinions of the stinging nettle. Also, I lamented that Jack had gotten the bag wet, our shoes and etc. When we crossed the river, he had submerged it several times. Couldn't you have doggy paddled with one arm, man? I asked, flustered. It was another of the friendly hell-givings that angsty teens grow accustomed. Nothing more than something to laugh about. After another mile or so, we decided our shoes had become dry enough to wear. My barefoot were tender to the railroad ties. They didn't squishy that much. Jack was terrified to lose his socks. Leaving them in the bag and tying the bag to his belt loop, it struck me odd then. Looking back now, it strikes me sad. Nonetheless, we were en route and around halfway there. The esteemed Mr. Daniels established an ETA of around noonish, dude. I failed to mention the moot point of either us presuming an ETA. We had figured a round trip of 5 or 6 hours, although you know how those things can be. And I am going to leave that right there for you guys. What, you think I'm going to read you the whole story? No, I'm not holding your hand. It don't work like that, man. But, anywho, I'm open to criticisms, and I always like to gauge interest. But, yeah, that's pretty much it, guy. There's my kitty cat. He's cool. But, anyway, that's pretty much it. I didn't want to read the whole story. That's barely half of it. That's almost right at half of it. But you can see the makings for a good ghost story. But maybe it's just where it's Halloween time. But as far as rough drafts go, it's rough. But every rough draft is. That's why it's called a rough draft. And we don't exactly try to sell those. It's just good to peep up some interest, I guess. I don't know. I might get 2 damn views maybe. One of them's going to be me, and the other one's going to be this kitty cat. So it's not like it really counts on the view part, but it's something to do, and I like it, you know. But anyway, hey, check us out. Check us out. It's so cool. Three-wheeler, and look, a robot. It's that is like 80s 80s shite right there, bro. All right. Peace out, guys. I love y'all. Be good. Bye.